So then the question comes down to whether we've developed or remember enough of our heart.
Well, all it is really answering one of the yeah buts. Yeah, but is there enough?
And you say, yes, there is enough here.
Well, that's it. It answers the yeah but. But is it all the yeah buts? No, it's not all the yeah buts. What will humanity have as a motivation to continue to expand its consciousness? Oh no, you're all just going to sit around in front of the cave and masturbate.
Some will.
Bonobos!
Bonobos.
You're all nothing but bonobos anyway.
No,
Hairless bonobos.
we are so much more at this point.
Well, some of you are.
Um, what you're saying is for those that are fear-based in the society now, that
Well, there are two types of people in the world, isn't there?
you have said
There's
that.
those live and let live kinds of people, and then there's those people that are fear-based. You can say that one is love-based and one is fear-based, but there's a mixture, there's a combination.
Sure.
Nothing is black and white any longer, especially any longer. You
Yes.
are really out of your adolescence and into your early adulthood as a species, where that level of confusion right before you're 25 years old really
Mhm.
comes to really comes to the fore.
That's also a time we can make big mistakes, but at least
Well,
we're attempting.
and there's also time that many people have created fortunes.
Hmm.
So, it's the energies are available. The energies are always available. It's all what you wish to do with them.
Well, I know that both you and Ezekiel spoke, especially Ezekiel, that we have spent so long as a species learning through difficulties and learning through
Sure,
trauma.
right. And we've often said to you, well, why don't you try the positive? You might have a better result.
So there's that movement. When you ask, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to learn how to learn
Well,
through the
first,
positive.
first you have to make the decision to go there. Then you can decide in response to the actuality of the situation what you're going to do. Okay? But you have to make the decision to go there.
Okay, I'll make that decision. How
But
about
you'll make that decision for
for
yourself.
myself?
And so the dynamic ultimately is, how are you going to convince others to make that same decision?
Communication by example.
Well, that's worked. You've been doing this work for 35 years. How well has that communication gone over?
We've been great at healing, but we're moving past that into a new area.
Oh, rationalization.
Uh,
We've got it.
no, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm assuming that we're going to be working together.
Well, the dynamic ultimately is if you step back and look and it doesn't conscious expand in spite of you.
Well, maybe that's too, moving through the different levels of frequency in the
Right.
galaxy. So we actually don't have to do anything.
Well, just sit around and react. Well, you said it. We'll agree with you on some level.
Sit around and reaction's not a good thing. That's just an old pattern.
Exactly.
So there has to be some proactive
Oh, so you mean you're talking about an old pattern?
of reaction. Yes,
Of what led to the reaction? Well,
you lost me. Other than coming back to the belief that there's not enough.
exactly. You think it's rocket science. You wish to make it rocket science. It can't be as simple as simply saying, well, I'm going to stop doing that now. That would be way too easy, wouldn't it?
What it would be, I don't, easy, yes, but also requires awareness to catch oneself in the way, many ways we,
Once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. You can pretend that you forget. You can allow your negative ego to get in there and get yourself be so confused that you forget, but don't turn that.
Hmm. All right, there's enough. And anyways, I keep saying there's not enough. Stop doing it. Just stop doing the old. Go
Well,
the other
it's a
way.
matter of is there really enough with all of the if point 0.0024 cents on every dollar will solve all of those
Hmm.
problems, at least those pragmatic ones. We're not talking about the mental emotional ones.
Hmm.
We're talking about the pragmatic physical ones that exist in your world and what changes you could make in order to create a smooth dynamic of creation rather than one of competition and comparison, but a one of caring and connection.
And compassion, yes.
Well, that's the caring part.
So do it the other way. Catch oneself in the thoughts and the
There,
feelings and
and it's not even woo-woo to the point of, oh, I've got to be light shadow goody two-shoes. No, that's not what it's about. It's about being able to live a full and rich and creative life, no matter what cards you have been dealt on your incarnation. Now you'll notice that the children and many of those that are incarnating on the planet now are very different.
hmm.
And so this is the reason.
Well, there's been a oft repeated complaint from our generation, from my generation,
So
that
from each generation to each
sure.
generation, the hard hats used to criticize you hippie types,
Hmm.
and still do. That prejudice that bias still exists within the fabric of your society. Why? Because those things don't ever go away. They just mix. They just mix in.
Sure. And is it a real fear? Well, no, it obviously isn't a real fear.
Well, it's a real fear with the dynamics of the paradigm you're choosing to live.
That there's not enough.
Sure, you're at war all over the place. There's seemingly insolvable problems, and yet you keep hearing echoes of things like universal basic income, Medicare for all, free choice on education. It's
It's
it's not, and it's not communism. But it is kind of a social democracy, but it's such a minuscule part of the democracy in that sort of way. If you're talking about 0.0024 cents on each dollar, you're talking about a fraction of a fraction.
hmm. Hmm.
And that dynamic, especially with the dynamics of financial um, um, transactions, the individual person is not going to even notice it.
No, no, and it isn't even nation-based. It
Right.
would be worldwide.
Worldwide.
So
Exactly
the
right.
benefit is
Yeah. So,
worldwide.
what if all the Palestinians and all of those people that are fighting against these dynamics, all of a sudden they had enough? They had enough for education. They had enough to make desalination plants. They had enough to make the deserts bloom in that sort of
Hmm.
way. The technology already exists for you to be able to, and with a AI handling distribution,
It can be
it
affected.
well, it takes a very complicated dynamic and makes it manageable.
Hmm. So my questions, some of them were more esoteric, and I'm seeing that they don't even apply
No.
because all it takes really is
Stepping out of it, making a
stepping it,
different choice.
making a different choice,
Yep.
and that one personally can do that, and
Which
that
is why as an explanation, which is why we lean away from the dynamics of meditations these days because these need to be conscious decisions that are made. You do not need us or anybody else reprogramming your subconscious. You can reprogram your subconscious simply by making other choices.
Choices.
It's not complicated.
Hmm. We've reached the level of affecting rocket science
You'd
in our
like to think
brain.
so.
We have the smarts, it's just whether we have the hearts.
Well, that's the point now at this point. But there's some people who have too much in the hearts and not enough smarts. So it's really a third position between the two.
Hmm.
So
So something I've noticed, because it's been Memorial Day weekend, so there's a lot around the military.
yeah,
And I've noticed that I find a depth of heart expressed, and can we have a
that's only
depth?
because you've never been in the military.
Of course, so that makes it easier to romanticize it.
That's right.
However, can there be depth expressed in
Sure, get rid
experience
of the war.
without having loss?
Get rid of the war and find out. Or get rid of war and find out. Pick up the big five: food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education, and see what kind of world you can create. From where you are right now? No. From competition and comparison? No. From not enough? With some people living on $2 a day and others having billions? No.
Well, ultimately, that wouldn't change in terms of the billion. People could have a lot of money, but as long as everybody has their basic needs met,
That wouldn't matter, would it?
it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't be a disparity that is painful. No.
All right. Till next time. We love you.